Hello, everyone. Welcome. So, my name is Shakti Priya. I am a product marketer from Zoho FSM, and we're joined by Harini, who's also a product marketer from Bigin, and Arvind and Maulishwari, who are product experts from Bigin and FSM. So, we're really excited to have you here because this session is about something a lot of growing service businesses struggle with on a day to day basis, right? So let me just quickly share my screen and we'll get started with the presentation. Can you guys confirm if you can see my screen and hear me as well? Great. So, as I was saying, we're very excited to organize this session because a lot of growing service businesses struggle with this particular thing, especially on a day-to-day basis, because which is keeping their sales and field service operations in sync. So very often we have one team managing leads, sales follow-ups, and customer communication, while we have another team managing jobs, technicians, and service delivery. And when these two teams don't work together with context, things might start slipping through the cracks. So today we're going to show you how Begin and Zoho FSM can work together to help you manage, both sides of the business better. Uh, that way your teams can stay in sync and your customers will definitely get a much better service experience. So here's a quick look at what we're going to be covering today. We'll start by talking about the real cost of using disconnected tools because that's usually where problem starts. Then we'll also introduce Begin and FSM individually, so you get a clear idea of what each product does. And after that, we'll show you how they work together and why that combination can make a big difference for businesses that handle both customer relationships and field service operations. Towards the end, we'll move to a live demo so you can see the entire integration in action along with Q&A. And throughout the webinar, please feel free to raise your questions in the questions tab and we'll be happy to answer them. Now we'll start with what happens when a business doesn't have a CRM. Let's start with the sales side, and we'll also talk about the disconnect where business service businesses don't have a field service management solution next. So what happens is a lot of small and growing businesses begin by managing their sales in either sheets, through notes, through email threads, calls, or sometimes just their memory, right? So that may work for a while, but very quickly it starts creating problems. There's no real visibility into the pipeline. So you don't know actually what's moving, what deal is stuck, what kind of deal needs more attention. And then missed follow-ups because there's no structured system reminding your team what needs to happen next. Customer conversations become inconsistent because different people are handling things differently and there's no shared record of what was said when, right? And probably one of the biggest issues is when all of the sales knowledge often lives with the individual reps without a system in place. So if someone leaves, that context and contact leaves with them as well. And of course, there's no dedicated way for you to measure sales and business performance because you don't get a centralized dashboard or reports that give you an idea as to what's working and what's not. So at this point, what happens is it gets really hard for you to scale in a structured way uh, because you have to make enough firefighting decisions and without enough visibility as well. Now, let's look at what typically happens when there is no field service management system in place. Because again, most service businesses don't start with software. Things usually just evolve over time. So requests come in through, their phone calls, WhatsApp, emails, maybe even handwritten notes sometimes, right? And before you know it, everything is scattered. Scheduling becomes another major challenge because assigning technicians is usually manual and sometimes it depends on who's available instead of who's the best fit for the job. At the same time, managers don't really have a clear view of what's happening in the field because to get an update, they have to constantly call or check in just to understand job progress. And another major thing is the technicians. For the technicians, it's not easy either. They often reach the job site without full context. They may not know the full issue, their past history, or what exactly needs to be done, which again leads to delays and a lot of back and forth interactions between the office team and the field team. And there's also no proper record of past service. So every time a customer calls again, the entire team has to start from scratch with the interactions. And finally, billing. So since everything is handled separately, invoicing will get delayed, payments take longer, and that directly affects cash flow. So individually, when you think about it, these might seem manageable, but as your business grows, all of this starts to pile up, and that's when operations really tend to fall apart. And sometimes businesses do have both systems in place, a separate CRM solution for their sales operations and an FSM solution to run the field service operations. But those systems, they don't actually talk to each other. That actually creates a new set of problems. What happens? The same customer information gets entered in two places, which wastes time and increases the chances of errors. And the service team doesn't always have access to important sales context. Like that's mentioned here, a $10,000 deal gets the same service priority as a $100 one. So there is no context as to the deal value, the urgency behind it, and what exactly the customer was promised. And another thing is sales closes the deal and moves on to the next one, but service has to pick things up without the full picture. At the same time, activity history is split across different systems. When you have two tools, sales interactions will live in your CRM while service activities will live in your FSM solution. So teams don't always have the full picture, and because of that, teams will definitely miss opportunities. Service teams may not know where upsell opportunities exist, and sales teams may not know what's happening on the ground. And on top of that, teams are constantly switching between two systems, managing separate workflows, which again slows things down and adds, extra effort from your part as a business owner. So even though both teams are using software, the experience is still going to feel very disconnected. So the obvious question is, what's a better way to do this? How do you make sure sales and service are not, operating in two separate worlds? So the answer is not just having the tools, it's having the right tools connected the right way. So, and that's exactly where Bigin and Zoho FSM come in. So when Bigin and Zoho FSM work together, you get a much more connected way to run your business. And before we show you how the integration works, let's quickly look at each product individually. And we'll start with Zoho FSM. So to give you an introduction about Zoho FSM, if you're not aware of what FSM is. So we are a field service management application catering to businesses where, technicians are typically working in the field for, after sales installation work, repair or maintenance work. So from the moment your service request comes in, all the way to assigning a job, sending a technician, completing the work, generating an invoice and collecting payment, Zoho FSM is the system that's going to help you bring all of that. So it's especially useful for service businesses that, want more structure, better technician coordination, and more visibility into what's happening on the ground. And, if you're a growing business, that becomes even more important because manual coordination can only take you up to a point. With a lot of interaction with our existing customers, that's what we've heard. So I'll walk you through a little bit of what FSM's capabilities are. First, you have work order management. So work order management will help you manage all your service requests, estimates, work orders, and all your service appointments in one place. This way, instead of handling them from different tools with a complete picture of status, the priority, and everything, you get all of those details in work order management. Then there's scheduling and dispatch, so which will help you assign the right technician based on things like the skill set required by the technician for them to complete the job, their availability, and their proximity based on live location. So you're not just assigning someone who's free, you're assigning someone who's actually the right fit for the job. So this will help you improve first-time fix rates as well. And the mobile app for technicians is another big advantage because your field team can access job details, complete job sheets that you want them to fill, capture service reports after the job is completed, and basically update job progress in real time while they're on site. And the office team is completely in sync with what's happening in the field. Then you get asset and service history, which means every job can be handled with right context. Your team can see what asset they're working on, what issue came up before, and what service has already been done. And finally, Zoho FSM helps close the loop with invoicing and payments and reporting. So once the work is done, you can move faster on the billing side, and also get visibility into your technician productivity, the job completion, and overall service reports with comprehensive, readily available reports within FSM. So basically, overall, Zoho FSM helps service teams stay organized, move faster, and deliver a much more consistent service experience. I'm going to give you a quick overview of FSM to give you an idea about the product. But again, we won't be going in detail. I'll give you an overview. Let me quickly go to the product screen. So first, we have customer management in FSM. So here in the customer section, you can see all the existing contacts in the organization, uh, including both individual contacts and companies. So then also have assets module. You can save all the assets of your organization here. So in context, assets refers to, I'm sorry. So to give you an idea, asset refers to, any product instance that is owned by your customer. So this asset may have been sold by your organization, or it can even work in such a way that it can be sold by another company and your business could be providing services for it. So in whatever context it suits, you can save the asset information here. And then we have an option, the services and parts module. So here you can save the list of all the services your business provides and the parts that you're using to provide the service. Then let's talk about work order management. So work order management is the foundation for any field service business, right? I will walk you through this in a little bit detail. So the work order management actually consists of request, estimates, work orders, and service appointments typically. Along with that, you will also be able to access the service reports created after the job is done, and schedule maintenance plans created for your organization as well. So here you can see all the requests received by the organization along with the status and the priority. There are different ways to receive the request in your organization. Number one is manual entry. I'll take you through that flow now. The second is through web forms. So you can embed a form on your website and get the request pulled in here. You can automate request creation via APIs, and of course through integration. So if you have Zoho CRM, Bigin, or desk integration, you can convert CRM records or desk as well. Let me just quickly create a request to show you how the entire flow looks like. So here you can add the service summary, the due date, the priority, for the contact for whom you're creating this service request, and most of the details will be auto-populated. You can select the territory, for which you're sending the service. So you'll be able to add multiple territories and manage that here as well. So I'm just gonna So from here, you will have the option to convert it directly to a work order. Say if it is an existing customer and they already know your pricing information, they're comfortable with your pricing, you can just directly go ahead and convert it to a work order. But if you want to be able to send an estimate, you can just quickly convert this request to an estimate and send it across via email, get the confirmation from the customer if they're okay with the quote and everything. So I'm going to quickly convert to an estimate to show you how it will work. So you can do this. If you want to provide any discounts, you can do that, add terms and conditions, and click on save. From here, again, you will have the option to send the estimate as email via the FSM interface itself, or you can mark it as sent if you sent it through any other means. Say you had a call with the customer and they approved it, you can just mark it as approved directly here. Let me quickly show you how you can send so that I can show you the email template also. So here you will have the option to customize customize this template, estimate template, or you can even compose your own email template right here, if this is not standard template that we have. And here you have the option to add the estimate as a PDF. And when you click on the PDF, you will also have different PDF templates for you to choose from. You can choose based on your branding, and then you can send it across. So the customer will receive the email with an accept or reject. They can go through the entire service, what they're going to be getting for the price they're paying, and then they can accept. On the other hand, your managers can manually approve the estimate as well, and the status will immediately change to approved. And the next logical step is to convert it to a work order. Here you can just cross-check the details again and then save. So this work order will be your master document for all your scheduling and appointment details. So from here, a work order can have one or multiple service appointment, depending on the number of service tasks involved. So if your service is a complex service that spans multiple days, or through different parts, you can just break it down into service tasks, and you can even create service appointments for individual service tasks right from here. So you can just quickly create a service appointment directly. You can select the services for which you're creating the service appointment, choose the start date, start time, end time, the service resources. You can schedule it. So what is the difference between schedule and dispatch? So if you're clicking on schedule, it's like it's in the draft state. You still, you can still play around with the schedule without the agents being notified. But once you click on dispatch, from then onwards, your agent will be notified of every change you make in the service appointment. Now, you can also, this is probably like the manual way for you to create a service appointment, but we have a much efficient way to schedule and dispatch a service appointment using the dispatch console. So this dispatch console is a task board that will help you, schedule and dispatch service appointments based on, agent availability, their proximity, and their skill set. So we have all the service appointments and the work orders on the left, and on the right side, you have comprehensive views, the Gantt view, the grid view, the map view, and the calendar view to help you schedule appointments efficiently. So this Gantt view, I'm going to give you a quick overview. So the Gantt view is where you can see the technician availability on the left, and then assign the jobs over time on the right. You will have the option to filter based on the service resource and all of this. And then we have the grid view. This will give you a quick sense of workload across technicians. You can see who's having more jobs assigned and who's free. So if your organization assigns jobs in a round robin way, this will be a very efficient way for view for you to use. And then we have the map view where you can schedule based on location and see exactly where your team is. So here you'll be able to see the live location of the technicians who've checked in using the application. Give me 1 second, I will show you. So under service resources, you'll be able to see a small map icon here, which will help. Let me quickly refresh. Here, you will get, once they've checked in with their mobile application, you can see where they are at real time using the view and map option right here. So then we have the calendar view, which will give you a high-level overview of all the appointments across the business. You can see your the holidays that you've configured, the time of applied by technicians, all of this. So all the color codes that you see here are customizable from the customization section in our settings. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Zoho FSM mobile application. So we have the Zoho FSM mobile application, which is available in both iOS and Android devices. So technicians can use it to access job details in real time, complete job sheets, add notes and photos from the job site. They can log their trips, log their time sheets to get paid for the time they've put in the job. They can get customer and technician feedback. And again, it's available in offline mode with read-only access, so agents can also not lose information in remote areas. And we also have the scheduled maintenance plans here. If your organization offers AMCs, planned preventive maintenance, or any kind of recurring service, You can use this to create schedule maintenance and automate the work order creation based on the dates and the time that you want it to be created. And I'll also give you a quick walkthrough of our user profiles. So we have 5 system defined profiles, which is the administrator, the call center agent, the dispatcher, field agent, and the limited field agent. So the administrator will have access to, again, all data and settings in the organization. The call center agent will be typically responsible for the work order flow that I showed you, from creating the service request, converting the request to estimates, creating up to the work order creation, and then you hand it over to the dispatcher. So the dispatcher will use the dispatch console to efficiently schedule service appointments for work orders. Then we have the field agent profile, who uses the Zoho FSM mobile app to execute jobs on the field. We also have a limited field agent profile, say a contract employee or an assistant to field technician, who you want, with restricted data access and no access to pricing information. Apart from this, you can create your own custom profiles by just cloning an existing profile and customizing permissions at module level, field level, and even the record level. And apart from this, we also have automation capabilities, customization capabilities, and developer space with custom function capabilities to ensure that you can make Zoho FSM truly your own as to how you want this to work. So basically, we have a detailed product demo live webinars happening every month. So towards the end of this webinar, we'll share you the link so you can register for you to have a detailed walkthrough of Zoho FSM. So that concludes the FSM section, and I'll be handing over the webinar to Harini to talk about Bigin and the integration. So over to you, Harini.
Thank you, Shakti, for that quick intro to FSM. Now I'll just share my screen and start talking about Bigin for people who are already using FSM and are not really aware of what Bigin is. So we'll start with a quick intro. Bigin is a CRM which is built specifically for small businesses and startups. Because, like Shakti said, the reality for most small businesses is that customer data is stored all over the place: WhatsApp messages, notebooks, and even someone's personal phone. So, follow ups get missed, deals fall through, and there's no organized system. And this is where Bigin comes in and fixes everything. With Bigin, you will be up and running in under 30 minutes, and you get all of these features at an extremely affordable rate. But don't let the word simple fool you, because Bigin is packed with all the essential features that a growing team needs. Think about how much time your team wastes switching between tools: emails here, call logs somewhere else, and spreadsheets holding customer data is stored in an entirely different device. Bigin,
Sorry.
yeah.
Please take your.
Am I audible? Can everyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I'll just continue with my presentation. Okay, so like I was saying, please don't let the word simple fool you, because Bigin is packed with all the essential features a growing business needs. Think about the time your team wastes switching between different tools. But Bigin, all of those worries go away, because it pulls all customer data and interactions in one single place. All your deals, lead data, conversations, follow ups, reports, everything will be under one roof. And we also have a very powerful mobile app for teams who are always on the go. We also have built in communication, which means that you'll be able to interact with your customers via emails, calls, WhatsApp, and even social media channels without leaving Bigin. We also have powerful automation and reporting, which will ensure that your business runs smoothly. So now I'm just going to switch to the Bigin UI and show you how exactly our system works. So this here is the pipelines module. A pipeline is basically a visual representation of any customer facing operation. Uh, the pipeline will basically take, let's say, the sales process and divide it into stages. Every single time a new lead is created, the salesperson will be able to view all the details related to that lead, and they'll also be able to view which stage of the sales process they are exactly in. Apart from sales, you can also create pipelines for other customer facing operations such as support, marketing, and so on. We also have dedicated contacts and companies modules, which are essentially a storehouse for all lead and customer data. Not only will they show you information such as their contact details, things related to their particular requirements. You'll also be able to view all the conversations that you've had with them across emails, phone calls, or WhatsApp. We also have a dedicated products module which will act as an inventory and allow you to track the products and services that you offer. Then we have the activities module. Here you'll be able to schedule, reschedule, and keep track of all your calls, follow ups, meetings, and events. Bigin will, of course, automatically send you reminders, ensuring that you'll never miss a deadline. Then we have the dashboards module. So, Bigin isn't just a very passive storehouse for all your customer and lead related data. It'll actively harness that information to create attractive charts which will show you important business metrics that help you measure the health of your business. And then here's the messages module. So if you are a business who heavily relies on WhatsApp for communicating with your customers, you can integrate WhatsApp with Bigin and carry out your conversations from the Bigin interface with all the required customer context in the same chat window. So now that you've understood what exactly Bigin is and what exactly FSM is and what they can achieve as standalone products, let's take a look at what will happen when you bring them together. Because honestly, this is the part I'm most excited about. Let me paint a picture that I believe a lot of you can relate to. Imagine you run an AC business. You've got a sales team that handles inquiries, does site visits, and closes deals. And you've got a service team, basically technicians who handle the installation, annual maintenance, and even any breakdown repairs. Once the sale is done, the customer has paid your business, what happens next? In most businesses, someone, that is the salesperson who has closed the deal, will pick up the phone, call the service team, or maybe send a WhatsApp message and hope that the right information goes to the service team at the right time. The technician shows up to the customer's house not knowing whether this is a budget customer or a premium customer, not knowing what was promised during the sales process, and not knowing if there are any special requirements. That disconnect between sales and service costs you time, money, and most importantly, your customers' trust. That is why when you link Bigin and FSM, this particular disconnect completely disappears. Your service team will know exactly who they are walking into a job for. The deal value, what was sold, every conversation that happened with the customer. And on the flip side, your sales team can raise a work order or schedule an installation appointment without ever leaving Bigin. Faster handoffs, smoother experience, and a two-way sync between both the products will ensure that your sales team and your service team are always in sync. Now, let me head to Bigin and show you how exactly you can set up this integration. So just head to the settings in Bigin. Here you will find toppings, which are basically Bigin's version of an integration. You can head to the marketplace tab. and then search for Zoho FSM. And here it is. This is a free topping. So you can just click on that topping, click on install, give Bigin all the necessary permissions, and click on install again. Once you've authorized FSM and Bigin to access some of your data securely, you can just click on continue to install and then specify the members of your team who will be able to access this particular integration. For the sake of this webinar, I'm going to install this integration for all users. Once you've determined that, you can just click on confirm, and the topping installation process has now been initiated. So now that the topping is installed, you'll have to authorize this connection. Click on authorize, select connect again. Choose the Bigin account which you wish to link with your FSM account. Click on submit and provide both Bigin and FSM with access to perform certain actions and data. Click on accept. And now you will be redirected to the settings page. So this here will give you an idea about what the settings section of the integration will look like. So before we jump into what exactly you can perform once the integration is placed, I'd like to point out a few things at this juncture. So the data sync between Bigin and FSM runs through Zoho Books or Zoho Invoice. Think of it as a bridge between the two apps. So both FSM and Bigin need to be connected to the same books or invoice account before the integration will fully work. I've already done that setup, which means that my Bigin account and my FSM account are already linked to the same books account. And we recommend that you do that as well before you initiate the sync between FSM and Bigin. But if you haven't done that, do not worry. The topping will prompt you and it's a one-time setup. So we'll also be sharing a help doc in the Q&A box that will walk you through the process of integrating both Bigin and FSM with books or invoice. So please make sure that you take a look at that help doc before you set up the whole integration. Once it is connected, the data flows from Bigin into books and then into FSM and the same way back as well. So if you want to change how the data is from Bigin is stored in books or from FSM is stored in books, you can just click on this option and you will be able to specify how the field mapping is happening between either of these apps. And like I had mentioned, since I've already enabled these integration, all of my field mapping is over. Now you can also customize the field mapping between Bigin and FSM. So for example, in an AC business, you might want every deal that moves to the installation requested in your Bigin pipeline to create a work record in FSM with the customer's name, address, or even their due date. So in order for that to happen, you'll have to map the fields between Bigin's pipeline module and the work order module in Zoho FSM. So here you can map how the data from Bigin is going to be stored in FSM. So let's say the closing date can be stored as the due date for the work order. So once you've done that, you can click on save. And now the field mapping between Bigin and FSM is active as well. Now let me show you what exactly has changed inside Bigin after the topping has been installed. Let's head to contacts and open a particular contact. So Susan is a customer who has purchased a 2-ton split AC from Zilka. So you'll notice that there is a new section on her contact page, the Zoho FSM section. What this means is that Susan's details are now syncing in real time between Bigin and FSM, which means that there is no need for any data export, copy pasting, or manual entry of data in both FSM and Bigin. So if your sales team updates Susan's phone number in Bigin, it'll update in FSM as well. If a technician's adds a note after the installation visit in FSM, it will show up here in Bigin. And the products and the assets present in Bigin and FSM will also be in sync. So the field team knows exactly which AC unit is installed at which customer's home before they even arrive. So now let's walk through a very simple example. I've entered Susan's deal. I've clicked on the Zoho FSM button. So since she's purchased a 2-ton AC, we'll now be creating a request for the installation. Here you'll find the create button. Click on request. Now, request for those of you who are not aware of it is a starting point. It's basically a service ticket which says that this customer needs something to be done. So now we can just fill in the details and set a priority based on the relationship you have with the customer. So let's say if Susan is a very premium customer, you can set the priority as high, you can set the due date, and all the data which is present in FSM related to her address or her phone number will automatically be pulled to Bigin. You can either copy the billing address or you can even change the address which is going to be associated with this particular contact. So once you've filled in all the required information, you can click on save and the request will now be created. Now, before we confirm the installation, we need to send Susan a quote. That's where the estimate comes in. And like Shakti mentioned, the gradual move from the next step after requests is estimates. So, estimate is basically a formal quote that you send to the customer before the work begins. And you don't need to head over to FSM to convert this request into an estimate. You can just click on this button and then select the convert to estimate option. Similar to what Shakti showed in the FSM UI, here you'll have to add all the services that you want to be added to the estimate. Since this is an AC installation request, I'm just going to add that as the service. I'll ensure that all the addresses have been filled in. If there are any terms and conditions, you can add that here and click on save. So now the estimate has been successfully created. In order to send the estimate, you can simply click on that record. You will be redirected to FSM and that particular estimate will automatically open. Now you can click on send estimate to share this estimate with the customers via email. And once you have approval from the customer, you can mark it as approved. Now, the next step is converting this estimate into a work order and assigning it to a particular technician and informing them that they need to initiate the installation process. Of course, you can do that from FSM, but once the integration is enabled, you can even convert an estimate into a work order from Bigin as well. So you need to ensure that the estimate has been approved from Zoho FSM in order for you to convert it into a work order from Bigin. Yeah, this is just loading. Once you've approved a particular estimate, you can just click on convert to work order, fill in all the necessary details, and click on save. Now the work order has been created successfully. Not only can you create and track all the requests, estimates, and work orders from Bigin, you'll also be able to view all the service appointments that you have created in association with a particular order. You can also view the assets which are linked to a particular contact, thus ensuring that both your sales and your service teams know which products they are dealing with when it comes to a particular contact. And like I had mentioned, if there are any notes that you've associated with a request, estimate, or work order associated with a contact, that can be viewed here in Bigin as well. Now, if you want to head to Zoho FSM and leverage its array of um, features which are more oriented towards the field service operations, you can just click on the view record in FSM button and you'll directly be redirected to the contact in the FSM UI. From here, you can view all the details related to the service operations linked to that contact. And if you are currently in FSM and wish to view all the customer details stored in Bigin, you can click on the view record in Bigin option. So in this way, there is a perfect sync between your sales and service teams. What we walked through today is how an AC business, or honestly any field service business, can run their entire sales and service operation from one connected platform. A lead comes in through Begin, the deal is closed, and the moment it's won, your service team in FSM knows exactly what was sold to whom and what needs to happen next. The technician shows up informed, the installation or the service gets done right, and the customer is happy. And then your sales rep calls a month later about and follows up with them and builds a good relationship, thus ensuring that a one time buyer is converted into a lifelong customer. So there is no need for clumsy, long WhatsApp conversations between sales and service, and no customer has to repeat the same information to both your sales and service teams, and no information will ever fall through the cracks. Whether you're primarily a Begin user who wants to add field service capabilities or an FSM user who wants better visibility and control over the sales side, this topping is built for you. Like I said, it's completely free and it's in the Begin marketplace right now. And if you run any kind of field service business, I genuinely encourage you to try this out today. So with that, we have come to the end of our demo portion. Now, I request you all to post your questions in the Q&A box. We have product experts from both Begin and FSM present here today, and they'll be more than happy to answer any and all questions that you may have. Over to you, Mauli and Aravind. Feel free to unmute yourselves and respond to the questions that are being asked. Thank you.
Sure, Harini. So hi everyone. So it's Aravind here. So Harshavardhan, I could see a question from your side whether Bigin CRM Desk and FSM can be synced in real time. So to answer that, so as Mauli and Shakti has been stating from the beginning, Bigin can be indirectly synced to FSM through a Zoho Finance org. It can either be a Zoho Books or a Zoho Invoice organization. So having said that, it's not a real-time sync. The moment you create something in Bigin, the standard sync hours will be somewhere around, 3 to 5 hours between Bigin and FSM. So it happens through the Zoho Finance org. So that's the answer for your question. And I think there's another question from Anil, like, can I use this for mutual fund business? So this is something, I mean, you'll have to give us your use case. So generally this Bigin topping and FSM, it's more useful for those businesses who have a service team sent to the customer side for providing service operations. So at least the integration topping, which they explained over the call, it's to enable a bridge between your sales team and your service team. So if you want to know more about this, you can feel free to send your case, use case to us, and we'll be more than happy to, review that and keep you posted on the feasibility of achieving it. I think I've answered the other questions posted in the chat. If there are any other, please feel free to post.
If there are any more questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. I think there are no more questions. We've mentioned in the Q&A box, we've dropped the support IDs for both the FSM and Bigin teams. So you can reach out to us at any point. Just drop us an email and we'll help you through the entire process. Like I had mentioned, we'll also be sharing a recording of the webinar via email. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you so much for joining this session, and thank you to all our presenters and product experts for joining the webinar and making it a very special one. I hope everyone was able to understand how exactly Bigin and Zoho FSM can work together to help you grow your business. With that, we'll be ending this session. Thank you all for attending, and I really hope that you all have a great day ahead.